Hello, I'm Kathy Jamil, Chief Program Officer at United Way of Buffalo and Erie County. Today I'm going to read the Arabic Quilt by Khalil and illustrated by Anait, Semirdzhyan. And I'm reading this book because this book really touched my heart. It reminded me of my own childhood growing up in the United States and some of our culture traditions that I used to really want to participate and show in schools, but was a little bit hesitant. And the character in this book really kind of does the same. And so it's interesting to see how she overcomes that obstacle. Kenzie, Habibti, you're going to be late for the first day of school, Mama calls. I'm coming, Mama. Kenzie stuffs her notebook into her backpack and quickly but carefully folds her quilt, the special one that Tata made in Egypt. Breakfast is delicious. Egyptian fava beans, homemade French toast, and watermelon with feta cheese and mint. Zachariah has watermelon juice dripping down his chin. He looks happy. I packed your favorite lunch for you, a kufta sandwich, Baba explains. Shukran, Baba, Kenzie says, but secretly she wishes her Baba would have packed her a peanut butter and jelly sandwich instead. Her family had just moved to this town and she doesn't know anyone. She doesn't want to be different. In the car, Mama sings along with the songs on the Arabic radio channel. When they pull up to school, Kenzie turns down the radio volume. Mama gives her a confused look. Good luck today, Mama says. Bahabbek. I love you too, Kenzie responds. In class, Mrs. Hagen asks all of the students to share 3 facts about themselves. When it's Kenzie's turn, she says bravely, I am an Egyptian American. I love to swim. I love to write poetry. Then she sits looking down at her desk. At lunchtime, Kenzie's surprised when Mama walks through the door. Habibti, you forgot your lunchbox. Habibti? Like the Hobbit? Isn't your name Kenzie? Molly snickers. Her classmates laugh with her as they walk to the cafeteria. Mrs. Huggins sees tears rolling down Kenzie's cheeks. What's wrong, she asks. Molly made fun of my mama, Kenzie replies. Oh, Kenzie, being bilingual is beautiful, said Mrs. Hagen. Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed. You are special. That night, as Mama put leftover shurbat adas in Kenzie's lunchbox, Kenzie gently pats Mama on the back. Can you please put me a turkey sandwich instead? Before bed, Kenzie writes a poem as she hugs her quilt, which smells like Tata's home. The next day, Molly says, Mrs. Hawkins said I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I laughed at your mom's language. It sounded funny. It may sound funny to you, but that is only because you don't speak Arabic, Kenzie says. She feels a lump forming in her throat. My parents say that learning different languages makes a person smarter and kinder, she blurts out. Okay, whatever, Molly says, skipping away. Mrs. Hagen calls Kenzie to her desk after lunch. I found this notebook on the floor and it was open to a lovely poem, she says. I was describing my Tata's quilt, Kenzie says. When I visited her in Egypt, she gave it to me. My Tata only speaks Arabic. Mrs. Hagen smiles. That is special. I would love to see your quilt. Can I bring it to school? Kenzie asks. Sure, bring it tomorrow, Mrs. Hagen says. The next day, Kenzie unfolds her quilt in front of the class. Her heart is pounding. This is my quilt that my Tata in Egypt made, she says. That's cool. I want to make a quilt like that, Deshawn says. Maybe we can all make one for our classroom, Claire shouts. Mrs. Hagen nods and smiles. On Friday, Mrs. Hagen makes an announcement. I have an exciting project for all of us to work on. Kenzie's mom is here to help us make a quilt of all your names in Arabic. As Mama steps forward, Kenzie thinks how beautiful she looks. Shukran for welcoming me here, Mama says. Kenzie and I will write down your names in Arabic, and I will copy your name on your own quilt piece. Molly is not enthusiastic about the project. Who cares about Arabic? We live in America. My mom says we should only speak English. In response, Mrs. Hagen starts writing words on the board. Algebra, coffee, lemon, sugar. Does anyone know what these words have in common, she asks. They come from Arabic words, Kenzie whispers. Mrs. Hagen nods. Learning other languages beside the one we grew up with helps make the world a friendlier place. We can speak non-English languages and still be American. I wonder what my name looks like in Arabic, Brianna says. Kenzie and Mama write down everyone's names. Neat, shukran, Amina exclaims. Everyone copies their Arabic names onto sheets of colored paper. Then they decorate their papers with glitter and jewels and place them on a table for glue to dry. On Monday morning, you will see a beautiful class quilt hanging in the hall, Mrs. Hagen tells them. Kenzie is nervous when the bell rings on Monday mornings and the kids file into school. What if the quilt didn't turn out nicely? The quilt hangs on the bulletin board outside Mrs. Hagen's classroom. The colorful papers with their Arabic names have been cut into different shapes and sizes, and all the pieces are stapled together. Kenzie stands in awe, reading the names in Arabic. Claire, Leah, Molly, Ivy, Jack, Lucas, Brianna, Chang, Deshawn, Sam, Angela, Lily, Amina. Teachers and other students stop to look at the names, trying to figure out whose name is whose. Wow, look at the beautiful letters. They're like drawings, they say. That was a really cool project, Kenzie. Shukran, Kenzie's classmates tell her. I'm sorry I made fun of you, says Molly. I didn't realize how important a different language is. Can you write my mom's name in Arabic? I wanted to give it to her as a gift. Okay, Kenzie says. Do you want to go to swimming soon? I'd love to, Kenzie nods as Molly hugs her. Leaving class a week later, Kenzie stops to look at the Arabic quilt one last time. Right across from it, she's surprised to see another collage of names in a language she didn't recognize. Those are my classmates' names in Japanese, Kura says. Our teacher was inspired by your classroom idea, and she asked me to help write everyone's name in Japanese. Aren't languages a beautiful thing? They can truly unite us. Kenzie smiles in agreement. In her room that night, Kenzie holds Tita's quilt tightly as she writes a poem for her parents. Shukran, Mama and Baba, for always encouraging me to be proud of speaking a different language and speaking it out loud. Languages can unite us together like a quilt, so I will always speak my language without guilt. I will never be ashamed to speak in this language that is so unique. Bahabbik Mama, Bahabbik Baba. The end.